Ronald Wissink is from Value Creation Capital, and they invested in this company. So yeah, both a warm welcome. Great that you are here. First, I wanted to start with Maarten. So yeah. Maarten, you are focusing on secure data transmission, but I think you yourself can tell them better what that looks like. What are you focusing on?
Yeah, so we developed about 4 or 5 years ago a technology that you can actually transfer data without using radio frequencies. So normally when you want to transfer data, you either use Bluetooth or 4G or Wi-Fi. And what we came up with is actually technology that you can transfer data with only a visual data point. So what we actually do, we show on a mobile or any display device, that's called the QR code, and with a camera we read that QR code. But that QR code is moving very rapidly, so we put a lot of data in that QR code. And by that way we can actually make a transmission. Yeah. And that's extremely secure, so we don't use any cloud, we don't use any Wi-Fi or RF signal, so that's why we're also focusing on defense, because they want to be very secure.
Yes, yes, that's really important, of course. Yeah, and recently you raised 2.5 million, so congrats with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think everyone's curious, what are you going to do with the money?
I didn't got myself a new lease car, but no, so for us it's really scaling up the company. So we are of course in a defense market, and although it's booming, you know, everybody sees that the budgets are exploding. They are still very, and we just spoke that before this session, they're very slow in really spending the money. So sales cycles are extremely long, so we need the money to either scale up, but also to lengthen our runway to make sure that we can actually facilitate those long sales cycles.
Yeah, I can imagine indeed. Let's give the word to Ronald for a minute. Well, I am pretty curious, Ronald. Why did you invest in LiveDrop?
Well, there are many reasons for this, I would say. But first of all, in general, we're a deep tech investor. We do seed Series A. That's what we normally do. We do both hardware and software, so AI software. We do advanced sensoring and optical devices. I think, first of all, we look at a rich technology that predominantly has more than one product market combination. I think that for us is essential because you can, I think, influence all the things in a company, but what is really hard to influence is the adoption rate of a company or a product it's producing. So we think it's difficult to have a one-trick pony, so just one market, and it has to be successful within a time range. So rich technology, different product market combinations, and a technology that's also quite unique. So it's not a commodity. I think the biggest thing where we look at is it creating value in terms of, does it solve a significant problem? In terms of, is it important? So could it be on the agenda of people, of enterprises or any other target group? But it also, I think that's, for today, I think very, really relevant. Is it also urgent enough? So do we consider this to buy this next quarter or within this year? I think with companies having a lot of scarcity of time, urgency is also important. And of course, the team, we look at the team, is the team capable of making this business plan a reality. And I think all of that applies to LiveDrop unique. We look at worldwide, is this a technology that's used already throughout the world? That wasn't the case. Has it different market segments? Yes. And I think for us, dual use is a real benefit. This is also what we focus on recently. So that was also a benefit. And we looked at the team and looked at where it could solve the problem. And actually it's solving a problem in the military to communicate without digital traces. We've seen on the battlefields in Ukraine what could be the consequences on this, but also applying to security, cybersecurity, have a secure line, and even in healthcare about privacy. So there are different cases here, and so we assess this as an opportunity within our domain.
Yeah. Well, we are talking about say data transmission right now, but I am also wondering, like, as an investor, do you also have some examples of some other technologies that you are focused on, or what you think are going to be booming, like, in the future?
I think first of all, we invested also in another startup, but also it was a winner of the awards that we discussed in 10x, also just close by. So I think what we do and what we see field that is becoming really significant in the future. First of all, dual use is going to here to stay. I've been participating in a congress last week at the Tech Barbecue in Copenhagen. There was also a dual use conference there with military, and you see there's so much money going into that space. And I think for Europe to increase our resilience, but also to increase our autonomy, I think there's a big chance here that because of all that money, I think also other markets can benefit from this, the technology push here. And I think that is, if you look at Silicon Valley, at the end of the day, what we see all the different innovations, I think the big stimulants on this comes from the military and the NASA. A lot of innovations, let's say the breakthrough innovations came through that money, governmental support. And of course, there's no news on this. I think people now recognize what AI agents on any other form actually can do and how it will intertwine and how it will influence our work and our being. And I think we're just on the first steps, baby steps actually, and that can really be massive. And people recognize this. It will take a long time to adopt this in businesses, in enterprises, throughout the systems, but I think I would advise everyone to invest a lot of time in this. And for us as an investor to also be part of that. I think Holland is actually great in sensoring. We have a long history in optical devices, advanced sensoring. It's also where we aim at.
Yeah, okay, clear, thank you. Martin, back to you for a moment. I was also curious, like raising this money in the Netherlands. Do you feel like the Netherlands is quite a good place when it comes to raising money in your area?
Oh, that's a dangerous question.
And I want an honest answer.
First of all, I was surprised, probably mostly, that you didn't mention the A word in your tweets. But no, so looking back at raising funds in the Netherlands, so I think we have one very big problem in the Netherlands, is that most VCs look at this as risk. Mm-hmm. So in the US or even in London, so we also have in this round a VC firm from London, they all look at this as opportunity capital. Yep. So how much can we create with it? Mm-hmm. And in the Netherlands and Europe in general, people look, hey, but what's the risk? Yep. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have as, let's say, Europe investment region. I think we have to change that because that actually will not help us to disrupt and to really grow quickly.
Yeah, so you also experienced this.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. I'm curious, like, what is next on the agenda for you guys? What are you going to focus on for the rest of the year?
For the rest of the year, so we're focusing really on commercialization. So we brought our technology now to a certain transfer rate. Yeah, so I think that was one of our key technology deliverables. We can now do in R&D about 4 megabit per second via visual communication data transfer. For reference, Bluetooth is about 1.5. So it can really make a difference there. And we're now fully into the commercialization. So we're hiring new people in the defense sector. We're doing all kinds of events. And yeah, just pushing. I think that we see now more and more traction, and we hope to close first deals this year.
Yeah, that's great to hear indeed.
Yeah.
Nice. And I think you were founded in 2021. That was.
Yeah.
When you look back at the time that you were working for this startup, what is something that you were like most proud of?
So I did a few ventures, but I think I always liked the first stage of a venture. So when you build your really first proof of concept, so we had this idea that it should work, and the first product demo was a webcam, totally fixated with a bigger screen where we showed a QR code. Nobody could move in the room. everything was black, because any vibration would actually hurt the algorithm. Everybody's standing, and then you have that first data transfer. I think that are often the most magical moments, because then you think, wow, the idea that I had can actually work. And the fact that it now is actually working on a mobile, under all conditions, under all reflections, that's a great path to see, in my opinion.
I can imagine. Hopefully there are a lot of more milestones to come.
I hope so.
Yeah. Do you feel like that? Maybe as a last question for you, Ronald, do you have a lot of faith?
No, I think it's always, there is, let me put it this way, a journey of a startup will never go linear. There's always disappointments, setbacks, things go differently than you expect. So the money is needed to make this journey. And we know it's probably not the last one, so we have more money to get more mature. Because we're in deep tech sector, we know this complexity. And we know it takes endurance to be focused and well balanced. So we're happy to support this.
Thank you. Do you have a last message for everyone in the room here?
Don't give up. It always takes longer. I think when we discussed this and you said, well, what's the main message when you're raising money? I think I've done it a few times, and one of my takeaways, it always takes about 9 months. So it's like a pregnancy. It's almost as hard, but my wife doesn't really agree, but I feel it like that. But it's always about 9 months. I also sold a company, it also takes about 9 months. So keep that in mind. If you are raising, don't think you close it within 1 or 2 weeks or 1 or 2 months. It's from infancy to, let's say, the closing, it takes approximately 9 months. So take that into account and find an investor that you trust. So as Ronald says, it's never a steep line that goes steep. You always have difficult discussions. Either you want it or not, you always have difficult discussions. It's better to do that with a partner that you trust, that understands that path, than do it with the investor that paid the most, paid the highest valuation.
Clear story. Thank you so much,
Okay,
both.
Thank you.